Hello, students. I hope you have gone through part 1 of The Sound of Music carefully. And now, today, I'm going to start with the Shehnai of Bismillah Khan, that is part 2 today. Well, the chapter is about Bismillah Khan and the Shehnai that he played. Bismillah Khan was a renowned Shehnai player. I'm sure you must have heard about him. He is a legend because he did something which has historical significance. He played the Shehnai on the day India got independence, that is 15th August 1947, at the Red Fort before the Prime Minister of India, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. Ustad Bismillah Khan played the Shehnai in order to signify something auspicious, and that something auspicious, that was the independence. And so we are going to see how the Shehnai has evolved. Let's begin with the chapter. Emperor Aurangzeb banned the playing of musical instrument called pungi in the royal residence, for it had a shrill, unpleasant sound. So, students, the chapter starts with the pre-independence era of the Mughal era, the introduction of Shehnai, how it was, what the name that was earlier given it to it. Banned means when you stop something, prohibit something. Shrill, very sharp and unpleasant sound. So he just stopped it. Earlier it used to called pungi. It was Mughals used to play in the court of Mughals. People used to play pungi, but Aurangzeb banned it. Now what happened then? Let's see. Now pungi became the generic name for reeded noisemakers. So pungi was given the name as a class or group of those people, when reeded noisemakers means the wind instruments. We have different kinds of musical instruments. So one is wind instruments that musicians used to by throwing, or you can say by throwing the wind into the musical instrument. For example, other wind instruments are flute, clarinet, etc. So, but very few had thought that it would one day be revived. So that pungi got revived. How it was revived? Let's see. A barber of a family of professional musicians who had access to the royal palace decided to improve the tonal quality of the pungi. So as the pungi had an unpleasant sound, there was a barber, who belonged to a family of professional musicians, and he wanted to play the pungi. But he knew that the sound produced by pungi was unpleasant, and so he decided that he should do something about it to improve the sound of the pungi. So who was the first one who decided to bring a change in the pungi? It was a barber who belonged to a family of professional musicians. So what he did? He chose a pipe with a natural hollow stem that was longer and broader than the pungi, and made 7 holes on the body of the pipe. So what this barber did? This barber took a pipe which was a hollow stem. Like there was nothing inside it. It was hollow. It was longer and broader than the pungi. He made 7 holes on the body of the pipe. It was like a flute, something like a flute. And when he played on it, closing and opening some of these holes, soft and melodious sounds were produced. So finally, the pungi, which used to produce a shrill and unpleasant sound, after few changes it started producing a melodious sound, and the credit goes to the barber. Then what he did, he played the instrument before royalty and everyone was impressed. So what that barber did, he played it before the royalty, that is in front of the kings, the Mughal empires, and everyone was impressed with the music. So the instrument, so different from the pungi, had to be given a new name. Now everyone knew that this is the same pungi, but it has something new. So, and definitely you can't call it pungi. So everyone thought that it should be given some name. As the story goes, since it was placed, how the shehnai got its name. Now this is again a very interesting part. Since it was first played in the shah's chambers, shah's here means the kings, and was played by a nai, that is barber, the instrument was named as shehnai. So how the word shehnai derived its name? Because it was played in the Shah's chamber or the king's chamber and was played by a nai. So Shah Nai, how this is derived. So this story is there. So the first part is Shah, which stands for Shah, and the second part is Nai. So this instrument was named as Shehnai. The sound of the Shehnai began to be considered auspicious. Now, when everybody used to listen to the sound of Shehnai, it was considered as auspicious. What is auspicious means? Auspicious means promising to bring good fortune. Means when people think that will become lucky by that. So, and for this reason, it is still played in temples and is an indispensable component of any North Indian wedding. Indispensable is like anything by which work cannot be done. So you can hear Shehnai being played at many temples and at weddings also. Whenever there is some kind of weddings, Shehnai is being played either live or recorded. In the past, the Shehnai was part of the Naubat or traditional ensembles of 9 instruments found at royal courts. So earlier it was in the royal courts. So Shehnai was part of a Naubat. Naubat is an Urdu word, and that means traditional ensemble. That means a traditional group of 9 musical instruments. These 9 musical instruments were played at the royal court, and Shehnai was also part of Naubat. So what is Naubat? Naubat is means the combination of 9 musical instruments, and Shehnai was part of it. Okay. Till recently, it was used only in temples and weddings. The credit for bringing this instrument onto the classical stage goes to Ustad Bismillah Khan. So, what was the work of Shehnai? It was to be played only in weddings and in temples. The credit for bringing this instrument goes to Ustad Bismillah Khan. He was a legendary Shehnai player, and people wanted to hear him play the Shehnai. Now, talking about Bismillah Khan, as a 5-year-old, Bismillah Khan played gilli danda near a pond in the ancient estate of Dumrao in Bihar. Now, the childhood of Bismillah Khan. Bismillah Khan was 5 years old. He lived in an old estate named Dumrao in present day Bihar estate. And he used to play gilli danda. It's one kind of a sport that children used to play in the villages, and quite similar to cricket. He would regularly go to the nearby Bihariji temple to sing the Bhojpuri Chaita, at the end of which he would earn a big laddu weighing somewhere around 1.25 kg. So a prize given by the local Maharaja. So right, you can see students that right from his childhood he used to play the Shehnai with a very melodious voice, and in return he used to get a laddu. He would sing Chaita. Bhojpuri language, is spoken in an area of Bihar, where he would finish reciting the song, he would get a big laddu as reward, and the weight of that laddu was 1.25 kg. So this was given to Bismillah Khan as a prize by the local Maharaja. This happened 80 years ago, and the little boy was travelled far to earn the highest civilian award in India, that is the Bharat Ratna. So it was a long time ago, almost 80 years ago, and after that, time has passed by, and he had played Shehnai in so many occasions, and after all this recognition, the government of India gave him the highest civilian award, that is Bharat Ratna. Now, talking something about Bismillah Khan, he was born on 21st March 1916. Bismillah belongs to a well-known family of musicians from Bihar. So his origin is from Bihar, and his family was already the family of musicians. His grandfather Rasool Bakhsh Khan was the Shehnai Nawaz of the Bhojpur's king court. His father Paighambar Bakhsh, the other paternal ancestors were also great Shehnai players. So the lineage, on his father's side was full of great Shehnai players. So from his father's sides, they were the family of musicians. We can say, that Bismillah Khan acquired the skill of playing the Shehnai from his ancestors. His grandfather was a great Shehnai player, and his father was also a great Shehnai player. So the young boy took to music early in life. So he also started learning music at a very early age. At the age of 3, when his mother took him to his maternal uncle's house in Banaras, Bismillah was fascinated watching his uncles practice the Shehnai. Now, not only his paternal family, his maternal family, that is his mother's brother, also used to play Shehnai, which was located in his mother's brother's house located in Benares. So when Bismillah Khan was just 3 years old, his mother took him to her parents' house, to his maternal uncles, like Mama. And they used to live in Banaras, and he got attracted towards it and also wanted to learn playing it. Soon, Bismillah started accompanying his uncle, Ali Bakhsh, to the Vishnu temple of Banaras, where Bakhsh was employed to play the Shehnai. So from both his family were engaged in the Shehnai playing, and they were a family of musicians, and he used to accompany his uncle Ali Bakhsh to play Shehnai at the Vishnu temple of Banaras. Ali Bakhsh would play the Shehnai, and Bismillah would sit captivated for hours on end. And Ali Bakhsh used to play the Shehnai, and Bismillah, he used to sit captivated, means attracted, listening carefully. And listening to him, he used to listen to him carefully. Slowly, he started getting lessons in playing the instrument and would sit practicing throughout the day. And gradually, what Bismillah Khan did, he also started learning, playing the Shehnai, and he would practice throughout the day. He never got tired because he was fascinated by the instrument. He was so captivated by the Shehnai. For years to come, the temple of Balaji and Mangala Maya and the banks of the Ganga became the young apprentice's favorite haunts where he could practice in solitude. So for the years to come, as you know, for playing any musical instrument, one needs a lot of practice. So Bismillah Khan used to come to Balaji temple and Mangla Maya, and used to practice at the banks of river Ganga, and he became a young trainee. Apprentice means trainee, and these 3 places were his favorite places where he could practice in solitude. Solitude matlab when you want to be all alone. Okay. The flowing waters of the Ganga inspired him to improvise and invent ragas that were earlier considered to be beyond the range of the Shehnai. So, the river Ganga got, he was so inspired by the sound of the water that he used to invent new ragas, because when you are playing the Shehnai, every time you have to create a new rag, a new sound. You can't keep on repeating the same thing. So he used to create different sounds with the Shehnai, and the source of inspiration was the river Ganga. So at the age of 14, Bismillah Khan accompanied his uncle to the Allahabad Music Conference. So this was his first outside exposure, and that was because of his maternal uncle Ali Bakhsh, and he went to attend the Allahabad Music Conference. At the end of his recital, Ustad Fayaz Khan patted the young boy's back and said, "Work hard and you shall make it." So, adults, they can make out that what the younger ones can do. So when he went there at the age of 14, Ustad Fayaz Khan, Ustad Fayaz Khan was also a renowned classical vocalist. He was so impressed by his performance that he suggested him, he said that if you'll work hard, he would definitely make a name in the field of music. Bismillah Khan, with the opening of the All India Radio in Lucknow, in 1938 came Bismillah's big break. He soon became an often heard Shehnai player on radio. So Bismillah Khan got a big break of his career as a Shehnai player in the year 1938 when the All India Radio started in Lucknow. So he soon became an often heard Shehnai player on radio. So he used to get a slot in All India Radio. In which year? In the year 1938 in Lucknow. and that was when the All India Radio first started. Nowadays we have FMs and other channels of radio, but at that time it was just All India Radio. So this is also, it will going to increase your general knowledge also. The first All India Radio in Lucknow started in the year 1938, and he would often give his performance, and people used to love his Shehnai recital. So when India gained independence on 15th August 1947, Bismillah Khan became the first Indian to greet the nation with his Shehnai. Ustad Bismillah Khan, first Indian, he got this opportunity to play Shehnai on our Independence Day, that was on 15th August 1947. And how he played that? He poured his heart out into Raag Kaifi from the Red Fort to an audience which included Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, who later gave his famous speech called Tryst with Destiny. So the Raag that was played by Bismillah Khan on the occasion of Independence Day was Raag Kafi. He played it from Red Fort live. It was live going on. And after his performance, the first Prime Minister of India, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, gave his famous speech, and that speech has a name. It's called Tryst with Destiny. Bismillah Khan has given many memorable performances, both in India and abroad. His first trip abroad was to Afghanistan, where King Zahir Shah was so taken in by the maestro that he gifted him priceless Persian carpets and other souvenirs. So not only in India, he was getting popularity outside India also. And when he visited Afghanistan, then and he played Shehnai over there in front of King Zahir. He was so impressed by the maestro. Maestro means the master in something, that he gifted him priceless Persian carpets. That means very expensive Persian carpets and other souvenirs. Souvenirs are things that are given in memory of a place or a person or event. So national fame and international fame, he was getting both. The king of Afghanistan was not only one to be fascinated with Bismillah's music. Film director Vijay Bhatt was so impressed after hearing Bismillah play at a festival that he named a film after the instrument called Goonj Uthi Shehnai. So Bismillah Khan got a stint in the Hindi movie also, as the film director Vijay Bhatt, the elder brother of Vijay Bhatt, that he gave. He was a film director and really liked the sound of the music played by Bismillah Khan, and he gave the name of that movie as Goonj Uthi Shehnai, and the film was a super hit. And one of Bismillah Khan's compositions, he gave one song also, which was named as Dil Ka Khilona Hai Toot Gaya, and it was a nationwide chart buster. It was a record breaker song, and this was given by Bismillah Khan. And there was a song in movie, as it is written in your book, and it was composed by Bismillah Khan, and it was very popular. Despite this huge success in the celluloid world, Bismillah Khan's ventures in film music were limited to two: Vijay Bhatt's Goonj Uthi Shehnai and Vikram Srinivas' Kannada venture Sanadhi Apanna. Now Bismillah Khan, though he was very popular and people wanted him to work for their movies, but he refused. He just did two movies. One was Goonj Uthi Shehnai by Vijay Bhatt, and there was another Kannada movie by Vikram Srinivas. The name of the movie was Sanadhi Apanna. Now, what was the reason he gave for not continuing in movie industry? He said that I just can't come to terms with the artificiality and glamour of the film world, he says with emphasis. So Bismillah Khan was a very organic kind of person. He didn't like artificiality, and he said that I find the film world very artificial, so that is why I don't want to compose any music for movies. Awards and recognition came thick and fast, and as he was gaining popularity, and so was his awards and recognitions. Bismillah Khan became the first Indian to be invited to perform at the prestigious Lincoln Center Hall in the United States of America. He also took part in the World Exposition in Montreal, in the Cannes Art Festival, and the Osaka Trade Fair. So Bismillah Khan was gaining popularity at the national and the international level, and he was the first Indian, that's a very prestigious thing, that he got the invitation from the prestigious Lincoln Central Hall, which is based in America. And he performed in Montreal also, Australia, in the World Exposition. He performed at the Cannes Art Festival, and he also performed in Japan at the Osaka Trade Fair. So now he was gaining popularity and was traveling all over the world for his performance. So well known did he become internationally that an auditorium in Tehran was named after him. Tahar Mausiqi Ustad Bismillah Khan. Tehran, as you know, it's the capital city of Iran, and Bismillah Khan was so famous all over the world that in Tehran an auditorium has been named after him. And he has been given a lot of national awards like Padam Shri, the Padma Bhushan, and the Padma Vibhushan. Ustad Bismillah Khan has been awarded with these national awards. In 2001, Ustad Bismillah Khan's was awarded India's highest civilian award. Now you need to remember this date, this year, in 2001. He received the highest civilian award of India, that is Bharat Ratna. With the coveted award resting on his chest and his eyes glinting with rare happiness, he said, "All I would like to say is teach your children music. This is Hindustan's richest tradition. Even the West is now coming to learn our music." So when Ustad Bismillah Khan received India's highest civilian award, Bharat Ratna, in the year 2001, his eyes were shining bright because of his, achievement. He was very happy because his hard work had been recognized, and he gave an important message to the country. He told all the Indians to teach music to their children because music is the richest tradition of India. He said that even the Western countries wanted to learn India's music. In spite of having traveled all over the world, Khan Sahab, as he is fondly called, so people used to call him fondly as Khan Sahab, is exceedingly fond of Banaras and Dumrao, and they remain for him the most wonderful towns of the world. So he has, traveled all over the world, all over India, but still his favorite places are Banaras and Dumrao. And he's attached to his birthplace. He was attached to his birthplace. Now he is no more. A student of his once wanted him, one of his, because when you become a big musician, people start coming to learn from you. So one of his students, he wanted him to head a Shehnai school in the USA. And the student promised to recreate the atmosphere of Banaras by replicating the temples there. But Khan Sahib asked him if he would be able to transport river Ganga as well. So he was so attached to his place Banaras, that one of the students, when told, he said that he can recreate, he can make copy of Banaras in that auditorium so that he can perform in the school. But Bismillah Khan refused, saying that he could not leave India as he was attached not only to the temples of Banaras but also to the holy river Ganga. He said that I'm going to miss it, and I'm so attached to river Ganga that he just asked a simple question: can you carry river Ganga as well? Because that was the source of inspiration for Bismillah Khan. Later, he is remembered to have said, "That is why whenever I am in a foreign country, I keep yearning to see Hindustan. While in Mumbai, I think of only Banaras and the holy Ganga. And while in Banaras, I miss the unique Mattha of Dumarao." So Ustad Bismillah Khan said that whenever he visited any foreign country, he longed to see India. He always remembered India. He wanted to return to India. Like he never, got attracted to the outside world. And he says that when he was in India, in Mumbai, he yearned to visit Banaras and the river Ganga. And when he was in Banaras, he missed his birthplace, Dumrao, and the Mattha, where he sang Chaita and was rewarded with the Laddu of 1.25 kg. Ustad Bismillah Khan's life is a perfect example of the rich cultural heritage of India, one that effortlessly accepts that devout Muslim like him can naturally play the Shehnai every morning at the Kashi Vishwanath temple. So here the writer says that that Ustad Bismillah Khan was a perfect example of the rich cultural heritage of India. His work was beyond religion barriers. Although he was a strict Muslim, he followed the Muslim laws, but every morning he would play the Shehnai at the Kashi Vishwanath temple, which was a Hindu temple. Now, this shows that he did not have the barriers of religion in his mind. He was a true Indian. He considered music to be India's richest cultural heritage. Ustad Bismillah Khan passed away on 21st August 2006 at the age of 90 after a prolonged illness. He was given a state funeral and the government of India declared one day of national mourning. So Ustad Bismillah Khan died on 21st August 2006 as he was not keeping well for quite a long time, and he was 90 when he died, and the entire country mourned the death of legendary musician, and there was a holiday for one day and he was given a state funeral. A state funeral means when the dead body is wrapped in a flag, Indian flag. So that was the story of the legendary musician Ustad Bismillah Khan. He is no more with us, but his Shehnai is still there, and it is considered as one of the auspicious musical instrument in India, and many students do learn that, many music students do learn that, and it has a very pleasant sound. So I hope students you have enjoyed the chapter and learned a lot about Shehnai and Ustad Bismillah Khan.